The impact of Taylor Swift's music is certainly apparent to the general public. Her vastly dedicated fan base, expansive career, genre switching, vocal progression, and songwriting acclaim have made her one of the most successful musical artists of the 21st century. This three-part series is a deep dive into her different eras and the profound impact that her music has had on me personally. Her debut album, Taylor Swift, introduced the world to the 16-year-old beautiful blonde songwriting genius that is Taylor Swift, with her debuting as a country act. Her first released single was titled Tim McGraw, which introduced her songwriting gift to music listeners everywhere. Her stark talent at such a young age was evident from the beginning. I was born in 2003, so I was only 3 years old when her first album was released, and I didn't discover how much I genuinely connected with her music until later on. With that being said, I consider myself to be a highly dedicated fan now, and have done much research about her songwriting process, and I adored watching the Miss Americana documentary, as well as the Reputation Stadium Tour film, and the Long Pond Studio Sessions Disney Plus special. I write poetry myself, and all of her lyrics are just so eloquently poetic in a way that can truly evoke emotion, and so I really appreciate her in that regard. I'm going to cover a select few of my top picks from each of her studio albums. Considering that she has 10 albums and I am infatuated with almost her entire discography, I'm going to be making 3 separate videos. This one is going to be focusing on her first 3 albums: her debut album from 2006, Fearless Taylor's Version, which was originally released in 2008 and then re-released in 2021, and Speak Now from 2010. The second video is going to be for Red Taylor's Version, originally 2012 and then re-released 2021, 1989 from 2014, Reputation from 2017, and Lover from 2019. The last video of this series is going to be for Folklore from 2020, Evermore from 2020, and Midnights from 2022, and the most recent 3 albums are 3 of my favorite albums of all time. Definitely 3 of my favorite of her albums. I still like her other albums, obviously, but the most recent 3 are just so beyond profound to me. As for Fearless and Red, I'm going to be focusing more on the Taylor's versions of those albums, including the vault tracks. Taylor has been re-recording her first 6 albums, which she released under her contract with Big Machine Records, due to the masters of her first 6 albums being sold by Scooter Braun in 2020, which, when Swift attempted to negotiate, was met with a strict NDA. Thus, out of principle, she has encouraged her fans to stream her Taylor's versions of those albums as they are released, of which her fans have been immensely supportive. Fearless Taylor's Version and Red Taylor's Version were released in 2021. I'll be starting from her eponymous debut album from 2006 to Fearless, originally 2008, to Speak Now from 2010. I also want to preface this by saying that I adore every single one of her songs, maybe with the exception of Me or You Need to Calm Down from Lover. I'm not a huge fan of those songs, and this is extremely narrowed down to only 5 of my favorite songs from each album. Beginning with her album Taylor Swift, which I believe is severely underrated, by the way. My top picks include Picture to Burn, Our Song, Tied Together with a Smile, I'm Only Me When I'm With You, and Invisible. Picture to Burn has a catchy beat, enticing instrumentals, strong vocals, and immaculate songwriting. I actually don't even like country music, but her music is so captivating. I memorized the words to this song after listening to it about 3 times because it's so catchy. It makes me want to scream the words at the top of my lungs, despite my living about 30 minutes from where Taylor Swift was born in Pennsylvania, which is not rural. She has that effect with her music. Her lyrics are genius, and the instrumentals allow you to really remember them and sing along. Our Song is similar to Picture to Burn in that it's country, and I don't necessarily relate to that aspect of it, but I was once a 16-year-old girl, and the words do resonate with me in that way, as well as the catchy beat that ingrains the song in your brain for days. Tied Together with a Smile is cogently relatable to me as someone who struggles with self-esteem. The music and lyrics are delicate and emotive, and you can sense the authenticity when she sings it. I'm Only Me When I'm With You is a country pop track essentially about young love. As someone still relatively young and in a long-term relationship, the lyrics certainly pertain to my own life. The instrumental tracking, vocals, and lyrics are beautifully cohesive, like most of her music. Invisible simply encompasses emotions of youthful heartbreak and angst, with Swift's powerful songwriting and emotional vocals. I love this underrated song. And those are a few of my top picks from her debut album, which I actually didn't discover the raw beauty of until after Midnights was released, which I am ashamed of. She was 15 and 16 when she wrote these songs, which is just incredible. I very much admire her perseverance, her talent, her authenticity, and her strength, while others have tried to shut her down. Today, she's a global superstar with massive success and continues to regularly release music with critical acclaim each time. Next, I'm going to be discussing Fearless Taylor's Version. Fearless was originally released in 2008, however, Swift released Fearless Taylor's Version in April 2021, which includes the vault tracks that were not on the original album. I will be discussing the latter. I adore this album naturally, the Grammy she earned from this album was well deserved. Taylor Swift has always been unique in the fact that she's writing from the perspective of whatever age she is while writing. She was just 18 years old when she released the album and just 19 when she won the Grammy for Album of the Year. I adore this album, it's one of my favorites, so it was hard to narrow it down to just my top 5. However, the top 5 standouts to me are Love Story, Taylor's version, Hey Stephen, Taylor's version, White Horse, Taylor's version, Breathe featuring Colby Calais, Taylor's version, and You All Over Me featuring Maren Morris, Taylor's version from The Vault. Honorable mentions include You Belong With Me, Taylor's version, Bye Bye Baby, Taylor's version from The Vault, Jump Then Fall, Taylor's version, and Tell Me Why, Taylor's version. Starting with Love Story, Taylor's version, this bop was certainly popular when it was first released and again when it was re-released. This beautiful and catchy musical story displays Swift's apparent and palpable ability to articulate stories through her music and to emote appropriate vocals to correspond with the emotions of the story, especially since she writes all of her own music. Love Story, Taylor's version, uses the story of Romeo and Juliet and poetic storytelling elements to capture a beautiful story with a positive twist ending to truly raise one's spirits, along with that upbeat musical tracking that everyone knows. A Stephen Taylor's version includes an earworm-level catchy beat and eloquent storytelling, and yet another uplifting story concept. I just love this song, and this album, and Dr. Blondie herself. That's all. White Horse, Taylor's version, is a somber tune about a boy crushing her hopes for their future together. She had this idea of a, quote, fairy tale Hollywood story with this relationship, but maybe she was naive and young and couldn't anticipate the eventual heartbreak and inability for another chance. It's just a gorgeous song, and the line, I'm gonna find someone someday who might actually treat me well, is so beautiful considering that she has now been in a committed relationship since 2016. Breathe, featuring Colby Calais, Taylor's version, is a beautiful ballad with stunning vocalizations from both Taylor and Colby. The lyrics are almost cathartic to listen to them sing, and the song is crisp, lovely, and underrated. You All Over Me, featuring Maren Morris, Taylor's version from The Vault, is another song to invoke visceral feelings. Maren Morris's stunning backing vocals mixed with Taylor's vocals, the deep emotional lyrics about lingering feelings for a past relationship, everything about this song tugs at the heartstrings. All in all, I am constantly in awe of this woman and the abilities that she has possessed since she was 14 years old. Fearless, Taylor's version, introduces people to the Taylor Swift that is still rooted in country, but you can definitely hear elements of pop and folk music, genres that she would pursue later. She's always been unique and innovative, and watching her thrive and shine because of her immense talent immerses me in real hope. Her songwriting abilities have always been evident, and she has always been smart enough to use her talent to bring her success. Next, I will be discussing Speak Now from 2010, one of her most cohesive bodies of work. Speak Now is the third studio album released by Taylor Swift. She was the age that I am now when she wrote and released this masterpiece. She wrote every song entirely by herself, and most of the songs was done while Swift was promoting Fearless. This album is one of her most loved albums by fans due to the cohesion, articulate songwriting, realistic lyrics from the perspective of a 20-year-old young woman, strong and emotional vocal performances, and personal narrative storytelling. While I adore the album as a whole, my top 5 picks would have to be Speak Now, Dear John, Mean, Better Than Revenge, and Long Live. The item's title track, Speak Now, follows the story of a girl, the narrator, who stops a wedding because she is in love with the groom and they run away together. A reference to the story of this song and Swift herself appeared in an episode of New Girl called Elaine's Big Day, with Swift portraying Elaine, the girl who shows up at Cece and Chivron's wedding, confesses her love for him, and they run away together. I thought that this was clever. The catchy beat, hook, fluid lyrics, and enigmatic story make this song top tier. Dear John is a scathing track reportedly about her rumored ex John Mayer, who dated in 2010 when she was 19 and he was 32. Dear John is a 6-minute and 43-second long song, and every second of it is engaging. One can simply hear the pain in her voice as she reminisces about this toxic relationship and how much she regrets it. Don't you think 19's too young to be played by your dark, twisted games? When I loved you so, I should have known will forever be one of my favorite of her lyrics. This song is also particularly adored by fans for its lyrical power, authenticity, vocal power, and classy shade that was thrown at John Mayer. Mean was written about a critic who wrote about her and basically said nothing constructive and just chose to tear down a young, extremely talented female singer-songwriter. Instead of a petty comeback, she wrote a Grammy Award-winning song about the liar and pathetic and alone in life and mean critic. The optimistic outlook on something usually perceived as negative and the catchy hook and beat make this song a never-skip song, like most of this album or discography. Better Than Revenge is a rock revenge anthem about vengeance for a romantic rival. It's the only song in the album that alludes to anything sexual relatable with the line, "She's not a saint, and she's not what you think. She's an actress, and she's better known for the things that she does on the mattress." I absolutely adore the power of this song with its storytelling and lyricism, vocals, instrumentals, and meaning. 10 out of 10 track. And last, but certainly not least, is Long Live. Long Live is essentially an ode to her fans, and it is just beautiful. I cry almost every time I hear this song. Her emotional vocals, articulate and deep lyrics, and the intensity of this song make it a fan favorite. Overall, Speak Now is a genuine masterpiece, entirely written and co-produced by the artist herself. It's one of the most anticipated Taylor's version re-releases. All in all, Taylor Swift is a force to be reckoned with. She is one of the most prominent faces of the modern music industry. Her Eras tour has been crazy huge. I will continue to expand on her musical genius and its impact on me, as well as millions of fans worldwide, in the next two videos, the first being in regard to Red, Taylor's version, originally 2012, released in 2021, 1989 from 2014, Reputation from 2017, and Lover from 2019, and the next one after that being in regard to Folklore from 2020, Evermore from 2020, and Midnights from 2022. Thank you for making it to the end, and thank you to Taylor Swift for producing some of the most profound, relatable, enticing, and powerful music I've ever heard. And thank you for making such a positive, comforting impact on my life. Love you, Dr. Blondie.